Greetings once again from the gentleman. Now, you hear me talking about all these street people that frequented Harlem, 125th Street, Ori's Custom Tailoring. One of the reasons why I know these guys really kind of up close and personal, because like I said, we made clothes for them. We made all them pretty suits for these boys. Now, a pimp. Some people know what a pimp is, others think they know what a pimp is, and then there's a pimp. Now, he's nothing more than a guy who uses women to sell their bodies, and he controls the money. And I do mean he controls the money. The pimping game, more or less, is very profitable, or at least it was very profitable then, and I know it still is. Got a lot of places that have legal prostitution. But the pimp is the guy that takes care of the girls, and he has what's called a stable. Now, the stable is how many women he has in his house. Simple as that. See? So, all the pimps that we dealt with, and we dealt with more than, I'm just going to run some names by, we dealt with more than that. But these were the ones that stood out the most to me. Now, you got to remember, I'm in my early 20s. Then heard about the pimping game. Our neighborhood, we had a little, what we call lightweight pimps. We always had lightweight pimps. These boys here were big time. They didn't really live in Harlem. Most all of them lived downtown. Okay? The little lightweights that lived in Harlem, like I said, they dealt with what we call nickel and dime trips. $5 or $10. These boys I'm about to talk about, their ladies made 50 to 100 and sometimes a whole lot more, depending on what circuit they were on at the time. And when I say that is because they went to the fight games, the big championship games, you name it, playoffs, all of that. They took some of their select women and they hustled them at these events because the big power, the big money spenders went to all of these events, especially the fight game. And back in the 60s, there were a lot of fights going on in different classes, from middleweight, welterweight, all the way up to the heavyweight. This was during Muhammad Ali's championship days when he was fighting Joe Frazier and George Foreman and Sonny Liston. Now I'm going to tell you about Muhammad Ali a little later on, because he too was a client of ours there. Oh yes, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. You understand? And like I say, we first started dealing with him when he was Cassius Clay. But they would go to all the fights and hustle their women there. And when I say they made a lot of money, I'm here to tell you they made a lot of money. Back in those days, like I say, if you were a big time pimp, you had nothing for you to make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year selling the bodies of your women to the Johns who were out there. Now I want you guys to listen to some of the names of the players back then. Now I'll get into a few of them, a little more detail, but I'll give you that later on. Now, you have to remember, the names I'm about to spout out are street names. Because they all had a street name. They had a real name of, like I say, I didn't get into what their street names were, but these, what their real names were, but these were some of their street names. Now there was one brother from Ohio named, they called him Red Dog. I'll talk a little more about him only because I always thought he was the greatest pimp of them all. I'm not talking about these books that were written about the Iceberg Slims and all of those guys. But these were the big timers, okay? They handled a lot of money. I've seen so much money in my day. Brink's truck don't have that much. But these boys, like I say, carried their money on them. They carried cash money all the time. It was nothing for any one of them to have $40,000, $50,000 on them at any given time. At any given time, Because what they're gonna do with it? They don't want to leave it behind. They can't put it in the bank. They didn't have no charge cards. They had cash money. Cash money. See? But listen to some of their street names, like I say. We got Red Dog. He was from Ohio. Then he had another brother named King David. Now, I don't know what David's last name was, okay? But it was King David. Then you had a brother named Flakes. You know, like cornflakes? His name was named Flakes. We'll get into him a little later on, too. And then you had a brother named Toady McDowell. Now, that was his name, okay? He was nothing more than a player. And he had the big protruding bubble eyes on him that popped out, you know. He made his transition some time ago, back when I was still in New York there. And then you had Fast Black. Fast Black. Like I said, these are street names, but these are real people who are real players. And I'm going to tell you something about real players later on too, see. And then you had a guy I met from, I think he was from Indiana, and his name was International Bobby. International Bobby. You don't read about these guys. They weren't out there flaunting their name. They kept very low key on what they did. Now you knew they were a player by just the way they dressed, with the clothes we made for them, the bling that they wore, the cars. You knew they were a player. The guy got no job, see? And then you had Maurice Wyndham. Now that was his name. And the only reason why I use his name because he didn't have one of them cute little street names. He went by Maurice Wyndham. Okay, Maurice Wyndham. And then he had Julius B. Now Julius was a guy who, before he got into the game, was the guy who came onto our block from Florida, and we taught him lightweight hustling. Nothing of what he eventually got into, but just a little lightweight hustle. But that was Julius B. And then we had Sterling Garnett. Now, Sterling Garnett was one of the first guys that I knew that had what we now call a cell phone. I'm going to tell you about that phone too later on, see. And then we had another guy named Porky. Okay. And then we had a guy named Bugs Moran. Bugs Norman. But they call him Bugs. Bugs. Okay. And he had a whole lot of little lightweight hustlers. There was a whole crew from Norwalk, Connecticut that used to come down. But I kind of put them in that little nickel and dime category because they never had enough money to get all what they wanted. And they would come down and order stuff from us. They wanted to be like the big timers, but they weren't because they mainly only worked that Connecticut area there. And if you give a player a price, and he had to go in his pocket and kind of look through his money, he lightweight. And you had this guy named Lloyd from Norwalk. Lightweight pimp, lightweight pimp, lightweight pimp. Never got, well, I don't know now. But in those days, he was lightweight. And another guy named Johnny Fox. You know, all these little cute street names that they went by. And I would watch them come and go. Most of the time they didn't bring their ladies with them, or their ladies waited in the car, because like I said, they'd double park out front and they would wait in the car. But I'll tell you, when I first met International Bobby, he brought 3 of his ladies in with him. I want you guys to think about this. He ordered 20 suits and 20 top coats from us. Back then we gave him a deal that was $100 each. See? So that's $4,000. When his lady friend, he didn't carry no money. She carried the money. When she popped, she carried a little doctor's bag pocketbook that was shaped like that then. Now listen to this. When she opened the bag to pay me, because he told, pay the man. She opened the bag to pay me. The bag popped open and it made this sound. And when she did that, that money was jammed in there so tight that the bills flooded up like that. I said, this bag is full of money to the brim. I said to myself, the bag's about yay big, yay wide, and it's stacked. Now, she gave me 40 bills, which was $4,000 for his order. Now, you know, 40 bills don't stack up no higher than that. And she struggled to close the bag back. And I said, I would almost say that he had to have over $100,000 in that one little bag. Now, these were players. You understand what I'm saying? These were the big time pimps. So I'm going to leave you on that note, because the pimping game was very prosperous then. I know it still is. It's just that it's controlled different than it was then. You don't see your regular street player out there. So think about that as you wait for the next version from the brother from Harlem. Be talking to you soon.